Okay, let's dive in. African gray parrots. They're pretty
Yeah.
amazing birds, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. You see one, you get it instantly.
Yeah.
Super smart, those famous voices.
Right. Tons of personality.
Definitely engaging. But, looking through all this material here, it's crystal clear. That intelligence, that charisma, it demands equally smart care.
Especially around health, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's really the challenge these sources dig into, isn't it? They can live these incredibly long lives, super vibrant, but they're also prone to some specific health issues.
Yeah, a whole range. Nutritional problems, some pretty scary infections too.
But what really jumped out at me reading through this was the good news kind of hidden in there.
Right, that most of the really common serious stuff, it's actually preventable.
Which is huge. And that's basically our mission for this deep dive, right? To boil down this stack of sources, pull out the absolute must-knows.
The non-negotiables for prevention.
Exactly. So you, listening, get the clearest possible shortcut to keeping your gray healthy, happy, thriving.
Think of it like the concentrated wisdom from all these studies and experts on, long-term wellness. Because prevention, it's not just easier on the bird.
Oh.
It's definitely easier on you too.
So where do these sources say prevention really starts? I saw one theme just pop up again and again.
Let me guess.
Diet.
Bingo.
Absolutely foundational.
Yeah, the material really hammers this home. African grays just cannot be healthy on a seed-only diet, period.
It's like a recipe for disaster, basically.
Yeah, a good quality pellet. That should be the base. Maybe 60%?
Okay.
Then supplement that pretty generously, actually, with fresh fruits, vegetables. Maybe 30% there.
Leaving just a little room for treats.
Yeah, like 10% healthy treats, tops.
And this focus on diet, it's because they're prone to specific deficiencies, yeah?
Exactly that. Calcium is a big one. They need way more calcium than you might think.
Which leads to?
Well, it makes them really susceptible to hypocalcemia. That's low blood calcium. And it's serious. You might see weakness, tremors, even seizures.
Wow. Okay, so how do we prevent that?
The sources point to dark leafy greens, other calcium-rich veggies, and maybe even a vet-approved supplement. It's vital.
Got it. And the other big one mentioned was vitamin A.
Mm-hmm. Often comes from not enough colorful produce in the diet. Affects their skin, feathers.
And their immune system, right? Which I guess opens the door to other things.
Precisely. Especially respiratory problems. So think, carrots, sweet potatoes, bell peppers, those bright colors.
Okay, so diet is huge. What else did the sources keep bringing up? Environment seemed like another major area.
Yeah, specifically cleanliness, just keeping that cage and the area around it consistently clean.
Non-negotiable.
Absolutely. It stops exposure to mold spores,
Right.
The cause of aspergillosis.
That serious respiratory thing.
Yeah, the fungal one, often fatal. Cleanliness also cuts down the risk of bacterial infections, parasites. Just don't let things get damp. Clear out old food right away.
And tied into environment. Airborne toxins. The sources seemed really stark about how sensitive grays are.
Oh, incredibly sensitive. Things like smoke, aerosol sprays, even like fumes from non-stick pans cooking.
Really?
Yeah, it can be genuinely dangerous, cause severe respiratory distress. So making sure the air is clean and fresh. That's a critical step people sometimes forget.
Makes sense. But prevention wasn't just physical stuff in these readings, was it? Their intelligence means their heads need looking after, too.
Couldn't agree more. Boredom, not enough interaction, stress. These are massive triggers for behavioral problems.
It's like feather plucking.
Feather plucking, even self-mutilation sometimes, which, these reports show are serious health issues in themselves.
So interaction, toys,
Yeah.
that's not just nice to have.
Not at all. It's preventative medicine. Daily, meaningful interaction, rotating, stimulating toys, safe time outside the cage. It's essential.
Reduces stress, which probably boosts their physical health, too, indirectly.
For sure.
And speaking of keeping them healthy, introducing new birds. The sources were really firm on that.
Quarantine. Absolutely non-negotiable. Minimum 30 days, maybe even longer.
Separate area completely.
Totally separate. Lets you watch for any illness signs before you risk exposing your current bird to something devastating like PBFD.
Right, beak and feather disease.
Yeah.
Okay, and the sources also suggested that one of your best tools is just watching them.
Yes. Paying really close attention to subtle changes, shifts in appetite, what their droppings look like, energy levels, even just how they're sitting.
The little things.
Tiny things. They can be early warnings way before something obvious shows up. The advice is basically Trust your gut. If something feels off, check it out.
So, wrapping this up, what's the big picture takeaway from this dive?
I think it's really a message of, well, empowerment.
Yeah.
Through knowing this stuff. Proactive care built on those pillars we talked about.
Diet, environment.
Right. Proper diet for their specific needs, clean, safe, toxin-free environment, plenty of social interaction, mental stimulation, and of course, regular avian vet checkups.
That whole package is basically the blueprint for preventing most of the common problems.
Exactly. It's the foundation.
So it's not just about reacting when they get sick. It's about building this solid base of wellness from the start.
Precisely. And the payoff. It's huge, isn't it? A longer, healthier, much happier life with your amazing talkative companion.
Definitely worth the effort. So thinking about how important just watching them is, here's something for you to mull over. Given how subtle those first signs can be, what tiny change in your parrot's normal day maybe? A sound they make is slightly different, or they pause just a fraction longer before taking a treat. What might be your signal to call the avian vet, even if your first thought is, it's probably nothing?